What's going on, my friends? Chris here. I want to bring you all a quick update of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and ADA. Those are the three we're going to be going over today. That's what people voted for in the last video. Then we're also going to be looking at the S&P 500 and the Dow at the end of this video. So if you guys get something from this, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's dig into this. So first of all, guys, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin here on the weekly time frame. On the weekly, still trading below our 200 moving average and our 50-week moving average. We have overhead resistance, and this is roughly going to be at about $19,000 is a tough area for us. And what you can see here is this being a weekly candle, we're seeing a lot of rejection. We ended up pushing up to about 18,500, and now we're getting that big wick, that rejection to the downside, and it's also coming on heavier volume. So we have to be cautious of a retest of around $15,500. If that does not hold, we're going to be looking down, in my opinion, to about $12,000 if we really get a big break through that 15.5. And the reason I say that is if we step back out here and really take a look at this on our VRVP, we have this big gap right here. So that to me is showing that there's not going to be a lot of buying pressure in that area if we do drop down through that 15.5. That there's most likely going to be a gap there, and we're going to be looking down to this area of around $12,000 to $10,000 is where I can see some buying pressure coming in for Bitcoin. So for right now, we just have to be cautious, guys. If we're taking a look at our indicators, VWAP is going to be at a positive 3.29. Money flow is going to be at a negative 14.51. MACD is going to be a positive 394 right now, so that still has been holding to the upside. We got to keep an eye on that. And then right here, we've been also using our KST indicator, and for our KST indicator right now, we are at a minus 317. If we step back out and we take a look at the one-day time frame, one-day time frame still being dominated right here, guys, and we had rejection off the 50 moving average. You can see also this 200-day moving average pressing down upon us. So when we step back and we take a look at this here, guys, there's no need to try to nail the bottom right now. We've been in over a year downtrend, and until you see that trend change, especially on the daily time frame and that weekly time frame, and you have the wind at your back, this is a tough spot. Guys, like I've told you, I think anywhere from 12,000 down, putting limit buy orders is a smart idea if you want to catch some long capitulation wicks if this does go to the downside. Other than that, if you're going to be more conservative, I think you need to wait for a trend change on the weekly time frame and us trading up above the 200-day moving average for Bitcoin to start going long again. And that's just my opinion in the space. You got to be cautious right now. We still need to have that risk management, because if we go down to an area like $12,000, you're still looking at a lot more risk to the downside from where we're at now. So just be cautious out there, guys, in terms of long-term investing. I think this is a good spot for you. But in terms of looking for that big swing or positions trade, I don't want to enter right now. That's just my opinion. So next one we're going to get into is Litecoin. We're going to take a look at Litecoin on the weekly time frame first. If you're here for Litecoin, just put LTC down low, and we'll keep doing Litecoin videos for you. So guys, we had some rejection right at this 50-week moving average here. You can see we had almost like a shooting star candle into a bearish engulfing candle, so a lot of pressure coming into the downside there, still trading below our 200-week moving average and our 50-week moving average. I would look for buy pressure potentially again at around $55 to $57 is an area where we've battled before, and that's an area we could retest this trend line down in this range here. If we take a look at the weekly, for our indicators, VWAP is going to be at a negative 0.69. Money flow is going to be a negative 8.85. If we take a look at our MACD is still positive. So we had our cross back here, and our 12's been staying up above our 26. So we want to keep an eye on that. Histogram's been pretty healthy there, so no problems there. But I would still just be cautious, guys, because if Bitcoin takes a dump to the downside, it's probably going to bring Litecoin down even lower than that. So just be careful out there. If we get a look at the one-day time frame for Litecoin, so guys, last time we were looking at Litecoin here, remember these wicks, we were talking about them, and this is just something that I want you to put in your back pocket because it works both to the upside and the downside. And what we were talking about is when you get these long wicks, and we called it like a horn top, and you see the bulls try to push up, and you get this long wick and rejection, many times that's going to show that you have to go to lower prices, retest some areas, and then try again. So that was giving me a clue that we may sell off and we may have better buying opportunities. Like down here, guys, potentially support at $61. We could maybe get a little bounce there, or around that $53. But for me right now, I would still be cautious, still be patient, because we're waiting for Bitcoin. So we have been trading below, and we had a candle close below our 50 day moving average there, and we're still trading up above our 200-day moving average. So Litecoin was doing pretty well there, but when Bitcoin dumps, guys, it just really wants to bring it down with it here. So always watch these wicks both to the upside and to the downside, because to the downside, that can show great buying opportunities as well. So just keep an eye on this stuff, guys. And then if we take a look here, our VWAP is going to be a negative 18.94. Money flow is going to be a negative 1.1. And our MACD, we have had our downside cross here. So cruising to the downside. So may have some more of that downward pressure like we talked about into that $53 range potentially. So let's just keep an eye on that. That's going to be Litecoin, guys. If you're here for that, let me know down low. Then we're going to get into ADA as well. And if you're here for ADA, let me know down low, just so I know who's here for what. Okay, for ADA on the weekly time frame, main area I'd look at for support, guys, would probably be down around 17 cents. If we get a big break to the downside here at about 26 cents and Bitcoin flushes as well, I would look at that area about 16 to 17 cents, maybe even up to 20 cents. But that could be a value area for you that you want to keep an eye on. There's been a lot of battle between the bulls and the bears down around that range, even to 10 cents before. So we do want to keep an eye on that, trading below our 50-week and our 200-week moving average, and we potentially have a death cross here, so we got to keep an eye on that. You can see the trend line that I have drawn here, waiting to see when we do get a break to the upside out of there on a big, strong, bullish candle on some volume. You know, something like this back in here, guys, something like that would tell you we potentially are going to get a move to the upside, but right now it's just potentially looking like more downside, so we do have to be cautious and we have to be careful in this range. Okay. So MACD is still in the positive here, starting to roll over a little bit, so we got to keep an eye on that. VWAP is going to be at negative 0.86. Money flow is going to be at a negative 26, and that's going to be on the weekly time frame. If we get into the one-day time frame, one-day time frame being dominated by this 50 moving average and this 200-day moving average, guys, and you can see our trend line as well. So just keep an eye on that. No reason to try to pick the bottom right now. Told you I'm comfortable with limit buy orders down around that 17 cents or so. If we do get a big flush, you potentially could get a nice bounce, but right now I would still just be cautious because we're in that downtrend. And right now, guys, on the one-day time frame here, our VWAP's at negative 16. Money flow is going to be a negative 13. So keep an eye on that. And now, if we get out to the traditional markets here, we're going to go over the Dow first. And for the Dow, the reason why I want to go over this, guys, is just due to the fact that if these markets continue in a downtrend here, it could bring crypto a little bit lower as well. So definitely keep an eye on that. So for the Dow, we had a really nice strong move here. Guys, we've talked about the reaction rallies that you can have. This one was about 20% before we started rolling over. This one here was about 17%. I was just going through earlier and measuring some of these. But always remember that we're still in a downtrend, even on the Dow and the S&P 500. We're still in a downtrend. If we go to the weekly time frame and we take a look at this, we went a little bit higher, but I would still consider this a downtrend and something that we have to be cautious of. You know, guys, could we go back and, you know, maybe test this area here before we get going again? Absolutely. But right now we still have to be cautious because on the weekly time frame, these are some gnarly candles coming in on heavier volume. You see this big rejection as we tried to push up, go a little bit higher, saw rejection. You can see where we closed there on the weekly time frame on heavy volume. So I would still anticipate a little bit more to the downside here. You know, we could always get another move like this before we start flushing down, guys, but you know, we definitely could have another test of these lower areas. If we get into the S&P 500, let's see here, we are at 3,852. Same thing, we are in a downtrend. Get that off for us. Okay, so even more defined in terms of a downtrend. You can see this clear trend line that we have here, guys, trading below our 50-week moving average, still holding our 200-week moving average, so trading in this range. Our range is going to be about $3,500 up to around $4,100. So right in that area, but still heavy volume coming in here. You can see really strong bearish candles, bearish engulfing candle there. You know, so that potentially shows that we could go down and test some lower levels here in the weeks to come, and that could also put some pressure on crypto. So just be careful right now. That's the main thing I'm going to tell you out there, guys. You don't have to try to pick the bottom. It's going to be plenty of time. If you get something from this, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. God bless you all. Take care.